Andrean administrators, Hall of Fame members, inductees, and guests. From the moment I received my nomination letter, I was somewhat shocked, amazed that I would be considered for a member of the Hall of Fame, especially after my exiting meeting with our past president. I have always held Andrean in the highest regard and attribute much of my success in life to what Andrean has taught me in education, sportsmanship, and religion. As a 1973 graduate of Andrean, I went to Purdue University. After Purdue, I completed an apprenticeship with the IBEW. I went on to become an electrical estimator and project manager, where I worked on projects throughout the Midwest. Once I got married to Sophie, I had a dream that our children would go to Andrean. So when our daughter was born, Samantha, the plan started. When it was time for her to go to school, she attended St. Mary's in Crown Point. Upon graduation, she entered an essay contest and received a $500 scholarship for tuition at Andrean. Her dream comes true. With our child at Andrean, Sophie and I decided to participate in her Andrean experience. 4 years of participating turned into 8 years of participating. 8 years turned into 10 years. Needless to say, Samantha had graduated from Purdue by this time and now owns her second house in Indy. In my time here at Andrean, I often have been told, "Thank you for what you do." And my response has always been, "I do it for the Andrean students." In my daily life, I often meet people and somehow we always talk about Andrean. Of course, you know what happens. First thing out of their mouth is, "You guys recruit." And of course, we all know that doesn't happen. So my response is, we don't need to recruit. Our students aren't always the biggest, they're not always the fastest, but we have a tradition. And part of that tradition is having the smartest athletes. Think about this. Where can you find a school where a championship soccer team starters all have a grade point average over 4.0? Where can you find a school where a football player becomes a valedictorian and attends Notre Dame? Where can you find a school where a baseball player with a 4.5 ERA and over a 4.0 GPA, and just incidentally, the major league average ERA is 4.49. There are many, many, many more stories like this. I could go on all night. But to be truthful, I would not be here if it weren't for the table of people I paid to come here and applaud after my speech. If it weren't for these individuals, many things that we have seen on the screen would not have been done without monetary impact to Andrean. I would like to recognize these people. Rick Dravitt and his wife Tina, Richard Fielder and his wife Debbie, Mark Magura and his wife who couldn't make it, Amy, Robert Zurich and his wife Stacy, and lastly, my wife of 35 years, Sophie. I would also like to thank Noreen Bickle and Christine O'Brien for all their help with the Super Raffle event each year. Without them, we couldn't have made money. As a parent, I joined the AAA, which had a meeting once a month. Milt Hatt was the president, Michelle Manchek was the treasurer. I would attend these meetings religiously. One month I couldn't attend the meeting because I had a project deadline at work. So once I got home, I decided to check my emails. There was an email from Milt Hatt and said, so I opened it and it said, "Congratulations to George Walton, the new AAA president." So that was the beginning. That year we decided to have a sit-down dinner for the Super Raffle. John and Sheila Howard were the co-chairs. The night of the banquet, I was assisting, making sure little things were taken care of. I was on my way towards the cafeteria when I turned a corner and there was this attractive blonde lady comes up to me and starts giving me hugs saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." I basically, needless to say, I kind of looked around because I knew my wife was somewhere close. And I didn't know who this woman was. So around the corner comes Milt Hat, and he says, "Oh, so you met my wife?" And then she said, "Thank you. I'm so glad I finally get my husband back." As many of you might not know, Milt was a AAA president for 10 years also. So thank you very much for this award.